My name's Scott Christie. I'm Deputy Secretary for Highways for PennDOT. And I'd like to first thank everybody for being here and thank all the riders for participating in Bike to Work Week. It was a great ride. It was a great ride in to from my house to work. Had a great time and hope everybody had as much fun as I did. I would also say, I will say biking to work is not only healthy for yourself, but it's also healthy for the environment. So it's great to see everybody biking to work. I will also say it's my pleasure today to also let everybody know that some news is coming out today from the League of American Bicyclists that they typically rank every year the most bicycle-friendly states in the nation. And in the past, PennDOT was like 19th, and this year the word is coming out sometime today that Pennsylvania should be moving up to about 12th in the nation in terms of most bicycle-friendly states. So that's great news. The other thing I'd say is that we know while that's good progress that we do need to make more progress. So what I'd like to make sure everybody understands is that first and foremost, Act 89 does provide dedicated funding for bicycle and pedestrian facilities, number one. I would also tell everybody that Governor Wolf and Secretary Richards have both been targeting and talking to all the PennDOT staff and saying, really, we need a strategic plan to invest the money. We need to know what our money is going to, what assets are going to be invested in, and trying to connect those assets to all the modes of transportation. So if it's a bike path and a pedestrian facility, how does it link up to buses, airports, trains, terminals, things of that nature? So they really focus on the investment strategy that PennDOT has going forward with the money that's in Act 89. The last thing I'll say is that one of the other things you can look forward to in the near future is we are in the process of hiring a bicycle pedestrian coordinator. I will tell you that we are in the process, and it is definitely going to happen. So I'll tell everybody that coordinator's task will be to be working with all the advocates across the state in terms of trying to, and also the PennDOT districts, and trying to link up the right investments going forward so we know what the money is going to be doing and we can continue to make progress so in the future years we'll be in the top 10. So with that, I want to thank everybody for being here, and I'd like to introduce the Acting Secretary for DCNR, Cindy Adams Dunn. Cindy?
Thank you, Scott. I want to add to Scott's congratulations for the riders, a special helmets off to the people who rode bike to the Amtrak station to Philly, got on the train and got off the train here in Harrisburg and rode their bike on this ride this morning. So helmets off to you folks, so wherever you are, thanks. I'm proud to say that the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources supports all kinds of trails, from the rail trails, the wonderful rail trails across Pennsylvania, including some of the very special ones here in the central Pennsylvania area, like York Heritage Rail Trail, Lebanon Valley Rail Trail, many more across Pennsylvania. If you want to see where these trails are, look at explorepatrails.com. There's a trail near you, and I really encourage you to get out and use it. We're particularly proud of the partnership with PennDOT we've had with the Harrisburg Greenbelt Association to really enhance this 21-mile green emerald loop around Harrisburg and make the crossing safer, and eventually find a way across to the West Shore. So we think that's a great project, emblematic of the many types of services trails provide, allowing people to commute to work, allowing people to recreate with their families on a weekend, and allowing people to do some of their errands on a weekend via bike. So it's a great asset, and we would like to make those kind of connections in every city. One of the ways DCNR is able to support trails is through our Community Conservation Partnerships Grants Program. Each year we're able to designate about $8 million to trails from that funding, thanks to support from the governor and also the legislature. So that's a well sought after, highly competitive grant program, but through it we're able to enhance these connections, build trails, and really serve Pennsylvania. I would also point out Pennsylvania has 120 state parks, 2.2 million acres of forest land, and there's many trails in this system. And one big advocate for the trails in the state parks and state forest system is Senator Scott Hutchison, who rode with us today. Scott's the tall one there, the avid bicyclist. And we're really looking to do things like make connections from state parks via trail into nearby communities, and that creates vibrancy in the community that leads to and enhances economic development, and also in the state parks where there's amenities for riders. They're already set up for recreation, so it really makes a lot of sense. On the economic front, the big rail trails in Pennsylvania generate tremendous amount of economy in the state. The Great Allegheny Passage, which goes from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C., generates $40 million a year in a string of little trail towns going from Pittsburgh down through the Laurel Highlands. Just one example of the economic benefit that these trails bring. We do a very deliberate planning process on recreation with all the agencies that are involved here today. So I won't name all the agencies, but every single one of them is involved in the 5-year state recreation plan. We're about to release the new SCORP, as it's known, State Recreation Plan. And part of the SCORP process involves interviewing people, doing statistically valid surveys. And just a couple numbers, I won't go into too many, but over 73% of the respondents to the online survey reported that their local community should place a high priority on investing in community or regional trail systems. People also ask for better connections. There's little connections that connect a community or just solve little connection problems are really critical, and that's an area where we work with primarily with PennDOT. I won't go into all the details in the state rec plan, but suffice it to say, trails are big. People want access. They want to wheel out their garage and be able to ride, and they want to get on a trail close to home, and they also want to recreate and spend some time on weekends. So I think trails are big now in Pennsylvania, and they're only going to get bigger, so thank you for that. And with that, I'd like to introduce the next speaker. Marty Raniowski is the Deputy Secretary of Health. He does the division, the Deputy of Planning and Assessment for the Department of Health. Marty?
Good morning. I hope my hair looks okay after that ride. It is an honor to be here today on behalf of the Department of Health. Thank you for letting us participate in this wonderful event through Harrisburg, but also to be part of National Bike to Work Week. As an avid rider and a member of the Department of Health, I know how beneficial riding can be. It helps to have a healthy heart, it helps to have healthy lungs, but also research shows it helps your emotional state. People who ride are typically healthier, happier, and live longer, more productive lives. So just riding 30 minutes a day can have a huge impact on your life and on your outcomes and really impact your family. And it doesn't have to be 30 minutes in a row. It can be 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, but 30 minutes really does make a difference. At the Department of Health, we have a number of programs to promote healthy lifestyles, everything from bikeable communities to STEPS programs to Young Lungs at Play. We're working in conjunction with our sister agencies and the legislature, and I would like to take a minute. This is the largest group of legislators I have seen in recent years, so please give them a hand for supporting this event. With coordination, we really can make a difference in the lives of all Pennsylvanians. We can make safer bike paths. We can make those connectors that you just heard Acting Secretary Dunn talk about so you can leave your house and get to where you work or where you want to go. Biking is a wonderful way to improve your life. I know I started riding again about 7-8 years ago, and I forgot how much I enjoyed it, but also I got to see parts of my community that I didn't know exist. I went to parts of the country that I probably would have went by at 70 miles an hour if that was the speed limit. If it was 65, that's how fast I was going. But it was parts that you just wouldn't notice, and biking really does connect you to your community and to the environment you live in. So again, on the behalf of the Department of Health, thank you. Enjoy biking this week, but also for a lifetime. The saying is true, you never really forget how to ride a bicycle. It's not that hard, so get on a bike, enjoy it, and I will leave the riders with one thing. Please, always wear your helmet and always wear bright clothes. It's vitally important to be seen and be safe. And with that, it is my distinct honor to introduce the Honorable Representative Madeline Dean.
Good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to be here today with the fun of that ride. As the Deputy Secretary just told you, it is good for your health. You can't help smiling when you're riding a bicycle. So I'm happy to be here with advocates, with enthusiasts, with law enforcement, with bicyclists, with legislators to celebrate Bike to Work Week. We passed a resolution in the House celebrating Bike to Work Month, week, and day. And while biking is fun, we're really here to shine a spotlight on what Pennsylvania has done. Pennsylvania is a leader, and I want to congratulate Pennsylvania. As the Deputy Secretary just told us, we have jumped from 19th to 12th. Today it will be announced. We are going to be 12th in the nation for bicycle-friendly communities. From Erie to Easton, from Allentown to Abington, from Pittsburgh to Pottstown. Across this state, we are investing substantial, sustained dollars in all of our infrastructure, but in a dedicated way to bike paths and pedestrian trails through the $2 million multimodal. I am excited about what we did in Act 89, 2013. It made us a leader in the nation. Other states are looking to us to see what we've done. And I just want to say, I celebrate all the riders. I encourage more people to commute when you can. And of course, enjoy bikes for recreation. Get your kids out on bikes. Because the bottom line is what we're doing is building a more livable, walkable, bikeable, shoppable community for ourselves. So it's a real pleasure for me to be with you. And now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing my colleague, Representative the Honorable David Maloney.
Thank you all for coming out. What a difference 1 year makes. Last year it was somewhat of a monsoon. There were some that were rather reluctant to go out, so I was glad it worked out this year. I want to thank everybody for coming, showing us support. I want to thank Joe Stafford especially for helping me along the process with a passionate you'll hear a little bit about in a couple minutes. And I think there's a lot to be said about bicycling and what it means to many of us. I know some of us have experienced some tragedies in our neighborhoods with the lack of sharing the lane, if you will, and the respect of the road. Act 3 was terrific, defining time for Pennsylvania and how we interact on the road and how we share that. So with that, I guess it's no secret as to my passion for House Bill 150. It's kind of a little obvious today. Last session, we got close. But hopefully with this month of May and a little bit of the momentum we have, we can push forward this initiative, which, as was mentioned earlier, will help to allow all funds to go towards the pedicycle coordinator in Pennsylvania. And having said that, knowing the loss that we had with the former coordinator, what a tribute to him and his family, and for all of us in what we do here in helping to promote safety and health in Pennsylvania. I grew up on a bicycle. I know that times have changed. Roads are a little bit more busy, a little faster, and we have to remember that life is short and we need to be able to make the best out of it. So with that, I want to again thank everybody for coming out today. I hope you'll remember HB 150. Maybe a little visual help today. Shirts could be acquired if you have an interest. And I would like to hand this over to the mayor of Harrisburg, Eric Pappenfuss.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Great to see everyone. It is a true honor to be able to host this press conference right here in the capital of Pennsylvania, Harrisburg. So today's a big day. Not only is it the start of Bike to Week week in the Commonwealth, it is also the beginning of construction on Front Street. We can see Front Street just down the way there. It will become, in about a year's time, when the construction is finished, the first dedicated bike lane in the capital of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And we are really excited. Not only will there be a dedicated bike lane, but there's going to be new curbs and beautiful new crosswalks, brand new LED lighting. I mean, it will be a state-of-the-art bike lane, and it's really going to shine as an example, I think, for the rest of the Commonwealth. And if we want to bring Pennsylvania into the top 10 bike-friendly states in the country, we need to start here in the capital city. Front Street's just the beginning. 2nd Street next, and then 6th Street, and then everywhere throughout the city that makes sense. We've also just begun last week the start of our new comprehensive plan, so it's really important that the conversation is beginning now. For 40 years in Harrisburg, we haven't had a comprehensive plan. We haven't had that sort of community visioning to talk about where we want bike lanes, how we want people to commute, how we can make the city more walkable and shoppable and bikeable. Well, that's all beginning now, and I see great things in store. I wanted to also mention that it's easier to bike to work and walk to work if you live close to work. And for everybody here, consider coming and buying a home in Harrisburg. We've got amazing opportunities. The city is leading by example. We have a new program for city workers in which we're paying the closing costs up to a couple $1,000s for city workers that want to buy a home and bike to work and walk to work. We've got our largest private employer in Pinnacle Health on board. They're offering $5,000 to their employees that want to bike to work and walk to work and live in the city. And we're encouraging other businesses to do the same. So there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in Harrisburg, everything from the green belt improvements that you've heard to bike shares and new bike racks and great planning. To tell you a little bit about the planning, I want to introduce our planning director. We're actually really privileged this morning. We have our entire planning department here, out, biking, and showing their support. But I want to introduce Jeffrey Knight, who's the planning director, a true visionary and one who literally does, in fact, bike to work on a regular basis. Jeffrey.
Thank you, Mayor. As we've heard today, Pennsylvania is making great strides in terms of the bikeability and the amenities we offer to bikers. And as part of that, it's vitally important that the state capital reflect that growth and that improvement in our status. And as the mayor has said, we've got a couple of projects coming up. Obviously, the Front Street project will be the first dedicated bikeway along in the city of Harrisburg here. It won't be a significant commuting route from those in the uptown and the midtown area. I happen to live in the midtown area, and I will be using that on my rides in from here on out, well, as soon as it's finished at least. In addition to that, we've also got a few regional planning grants to improve 7th Street, 6th Street, and Division Street. And as part of those improvement projects, we're going to be looking at the viability, the feasibility, and the design of bike lanes on both 6th Street and Division Street. So we're hoping to make it a more robust system throughout the city so that we're not all just biking in shared traffic, but we're actually getting some dedicated facilities. And that's important not only for helping the people who live and bike in the city, but also the visitors. As a matter of fact, as the mayor alluded to, we are in the nascent stages of developing a bike sharing system that a nonprofit has been put together, and we'll have some stations, hopefully within 2 years or so, throughout the city. I believe the Downtown Improvement District has already gotten a few bikes and has painted them to reflect the new design that we'll have for our bike share system. And I think they'll be available on Friday at the Spoken Gear Expo. I think they're currently drying, so they've just been repainted. But there will be the template design for the system that we'll eventually have. So it's important, I think, to remember to not only talk the talk, but to walk the walk. And both the state and the city of Harrisburg, state of Pennsylvania and the city of Harrisburg are doing those things. And we encourage you to stay informed and stay up to date and kind of push us to keep pushing this infrastructure because of how important it is to not only the livability of the city, but to the safety of its residents.